Hi, and welcome again to this latest episode of the La Plata Ward 4 Update podcast and video. This is David Jenkins, La Plata Town Council member from Ward 4, and your host for this podcast and video, which are now available on YouTube and YouTube Music. So, this is a brief podcast and video because I wanted to bring up some additional information, updated information from my previous podcast on September 25th and my previous video on September 23rd about the housing shortage here in Charles County. But first, I did want to bring some sad news about the recent passing of our Director of Public Works, Jeff Garner. Jeff worked for the town for almost 40 years, starting out as an entry level and rose to be our head of our Public Works Department. Jeff was a great guy, a great person, and dedicated his life not only to his family and the La Plata Volunteer Fire Department, but also to the town and the residents in providing that service and keeping the town running with respect to our water, sewer, and all the other infrastructure needs that the town has. So his passing does leave a big void. He will be really, really missed. And so our hearts and prayers go out to his family and friends. So please keep him in your thoughts. As I record this, his funeral was yesterday, October the 1st. So there was a great outpouring of support and thankfulness for Jeff and his family for all the work they've done for the town. So I wanted to again talk a little bit about some updated information from my previous podcast on the housing shortage in Charles County. This information came to light to me, which I wasn't aware of, as part of a group that I'm a member of called Strong Towns. And there's a local group called Charles County Strong Towns. And we meet every month. And our last meeting was September the 26th. And we talked about the housing shortage in Charles County. So some additional information came to light, which I thought was important that you should know about, and I wanted to get this out to you. And it does show that the county certainly recognizes the problem and issue and is making strides to see how they can tackle this complicated problem. Specifically, the county has a Charles County Affordable Housing Work Group. This is a group comprised of the county's Planning Commission members, staff from the county's Department of Planning and Growth Management, and they occasionally have experts or other guests who provide presentations about the complex issue of housing availability and housing affordability. So they do discuss how it applies here in Charles County in terms of the financing, how to buy a house for first-time buyers, the need or the issue of school capacity. Are there enough seats to house or to provide seats for kids who come here and live? And also a diversity of housing types and more related subjects as well. So these videos are available on the Charles County Government TV website, and I'll give you a link to these particular these videos. They're not particularly long, but they do provide some great information. I think the latest one came out late, sometime in August or September. But again, I'll give you a link to these videos. Another way they're getting the information out is, as you may recall on a previous podcast about public engagement, the county also has a separate engagement website called Stay Engaged Charles County, and they have different topics, one of which is housing affordability, and they have a survey which you can go on, and here's the link to that survey, and again I'll provide that as well, and here's the website. So you can go on that and provide your input about affordable housing here in Charles County. So I think that's important. And again, I'll give you these links so you can see and have your say and about housing here in Charles County. And then this second to last slide is a lot of information or for further resources or further learning or reading about affordable housing. This is a great book written by the founder of Strong Towns, Chuck Marohn. I've read it. It's one of the better books that he's written. It's also been a bunch of articles on their website strongtowns.org. And they have a bunch of YouTube videos. They have a YouTube channel as well. Again, valuable information. And then there's some other references or resources you can look to get other perspectives about housing, not only here but across the country. There are a lot on YouTube. There's some articles. And then again, here's some, here are some specific links here in Charles County. Here's the Affordable Housing Work Group that I just mentioned, the Stay Engaged Charles County website. And in fact, they just did a new video about housing done by a planning and growth management planner named Joe Brinkley. So you can, and again, I'll give you the link to that as well. And then finally, just to update a quick information. The town has or will shortly be posting the town's new election ward maps. As you know, we have 4 wards in the town. I'm from Ward 4. Every odd year, the town code requires our election board to review those wards and make adjustments as necessary based upon population growth and development patterns. So they've done that, and then they submitted those maps to us, to the town council for review and approval. So at our September 10th meeting, as required by the town code, though they provided us with a background and information about the changes to each of the ward maps, and it was adopted, so the ward maps will be official. And again, this was done in advance of the next year's election cycle, which will be in May of 2025. The town will also shortly be posting the election cycle as to when persons who want to file for an office need to file by, and then the procedures from there, and what the requirements are if you want to run for town council. There are certain requirements as well. I'm going to have a future, hopefully shortly, I'll have a podcast and video about the ward maps as well as the election schedule. So look for that, look for that shortly because I think it's important. And another important election, they all are, frankly, and every vote counts. I will say that because at the last election cycle, when I was elected in 2024, I was elected by 24 votes, but Matt Trollinger was elected by 4 votes. So it is true that every vote counts. So I'll provide some additional information about that as well. So again, thanks for listening and listening to my podcast and watching my videos. Excuse me. Please email me with your questions or comments at djenkins@townlaplata.org with any questions or comments. Thanks again. Be safe and enjoy the fall weather.